Hello, this is Chala Dincoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert. Welcome to my podcast called Polish My Pitch, The Deep Dive. We are going to deep dive today with my guest, Ann Sieg. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here, Chala.
Tell us what you do, who you help, and how you help them.
All right. Well, we'll get into that repositioning secondary, but I did make a shift 7 years ago where previously I was teaching people how to build sales funnels, generate leads, attract business to themselves. And that was for a specific industry known as direct sales. Mm-hmm. So did that with great success. However, okay, I'm getting too much in the backstory. So basically made a shift 7 years ago, and that was redirecting out of kind of the general internet marketing space, teaching people sales funnels, and into e-commerce. And that was the fall of 2013. And so what we do, and we've provided training on almost every sourcing method, everything from arbitrage on up to Shopify, source from China, etc. Did a real hard look at evaluating our membership and where were any point of failures, etc. We revamped everything fall of 2019 and rolled out our 90-day peak mentoring, which has been a complete game changer. And it was really focused on where we feel we have a differentiation in the marketplace for what we do is from day one, we're setting up to people to be the CEO of the business and to move that into an automated business starting on day one. And so that's really more a value proposition. So inside that, of course, by default, we have to teach a sourcing method, and that's retail arbitrage, which is the fastest, easiest, most predictable method. So once we get that cash machine in place, that foundation, then they can go into the more advanced methods and have a far greater likelihood of success because they've got a team in place that runs their business and systems for them.
Okay, I'm fascinated. Now, I'm going to ask you so many dumb questions. I already apologize.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, so give me an example of a client you took from nothing to through this program. Like, who are they? What do they sell?
Right. Okay. Perfect example is a gentleman named Ed Dassey, and he and his wife had a business. As a result of having 4 disabled children, they developed a therapeutic practice, very unique modality. I don't know anything about it, just say it was unique. They traveled the world teaching this. And then along came this thing called COVID. And that completely destroyed their business because it was all about traveling. You know, people would invite them to teach their specific methodology. And so this was March, obviously, of last year when this went down. And he had been in our program, but he was treating it as a hobby. And his wife said, okay, are you going to treat this like a business or a hobby? What's it going to be? So he got his butt in gear. He immediately started to implement what we had taught him to do, but he wasn't doing. And the first thing he did was hire a VA who then, in fact, 2, I believe, they started supplying the products. So there you're asking, how do you find the products? For one, this is not private label. This is not wholesale. This is not Shopify. This is not trying to figure out and crack the code of, is it going to sell or not? We sell what is already selling. This is what makes it the most fastest, reliable, predictable method, bar none. Furthermore, you have all the data points in advance so you can make a really smart investment decision on your product, knowing the turn rate, knowing the profit, knowing all the metrics. So what happened with Ed is he got his butt in gear. What happened is they were dishing up these product leads so fast. He's like, wow, they're showing up and doing the work. I better get to work too. So he started getting those products shipped into Amazon. And so basically in a nutshell, he hit 100 grand in, I think it was August. And then he hit 200 grand. That's for his year through when he got his butt in gear, so to speak. So he ended the year with 230,000 in sales. And with the method we teach, that it ranges from 32 to 50% profitability. So that he's now become kind of a little bit of a rock star in our mentorship group because he got to work. And so we always do case study interviews. And basically he's got an entire system of a team run for him by his team. It's about 7 people now, all in profit. And now he gets to lift up his head and now look at what else does he want to do to expand his e-commerce kingdom, so to speak.
So let me see if I understood this correctly. he had a system that he was teaching of a program already, and there were products associated with it that he sold
No.
later after COVID. What was it? What were
He came into our program, but he wasn't taking it seriously. He wasn't doing it. So we got him into peak. We said, okay, you need to get into peak. So the products, to get clear on that, because I apologize for the confusion, basically you are sourcing to find products that they're not wholesale, they're not private label, and you're comparing that product to what it's selling for on Amazon. So in other words, you're buying low and you're selling high on Amazon, and you're selling with products that are already proven. There's sales velocity, there's profits. And so you're just selling. You're like a supplier.
Well,
You are a
what was the
supplier.
product? Can you give me an example?
Oh, it can be anything. It could be Burt's Bees. I know these sell really fast on
Well,
Amazon.
what's this guy sell, that guy?
Okay, what we do is you sell wide, not deep. So selling deep would be, oh man, we're crushing it in pillows right now. This is you're supplying whatever is selling. That's what you tap into. And so you get the data by looking at online websites. You look at a product, you have no idea. It's a martini shaker. I just did a promo last night, so I know there was a martini shaker, sells for 20 bucks. You go over to Amazon, it was selling for 50 bucks on Amazon. Okay, so now this is not wholesale though. This is from a retail site, an online retail site where it's selling for 20 bucks, and you're going to turn around and sell it on Amazon for 50 bucks because you have the data. You know, you have the SKU, you have all the data. There it is. Oh, and it's selling for 50 on Amazon. Then there's other dynamics. Is it profitable? What's the rank? How many other sellers are there? So you have all the critical data points to make a very smart decision. It's just like real estate. You make your money when you buy based on how savvy an investor you are. It's the same thing here. It's who's got the most data points, knows how to interpret them, wins the game. So basically what it is, we're setting them up with the cash machine with the team that runs it for them. Now you got to put in the sweat equity to develop that team. You got to input into, like you're a team builder, you got to input into that team and get them to where they need to be to where now they're doing the work.
Wow.
That's how it is.
Can you do that without a team when you're bootstrapping, like at the beginning? Do you have clients that don't have teams?
Yes. So it's a 90-day to get them with their automated business set up. Some choose to hang on to it. They're maybe not comfortable yet. Like the hiring a VA, I've heard it. They're scared. Okay, I'll help you get unscared. Let's do this together. But so there's two main things that tie into the automation, or there's two labor parts. Finding the products, it's arduous. We'll call it grunt work. There's no getting around it. It's boring. It's repetitive. Although there's one guy, he has Asperger's, super accomplished CPA. He just developed Asperger's. He's great with spreadsheets and he loves it. So if you love doing it, sure, hang on to it. And he does. I mean, if you love it, why not, right? But then there's the shipping. Well, truth be told, anyone could do that shipping for you. And so we have prep and ship centers that you have your product shipped to, and then they'll ship it into Amazon for you. So that's how you get it automated, by offsetting that labor to someone else while remaining profitable.
I'm just fascinated. So the product is completely irrelevant, right?
Yes, totally irrelevant.
And is there a minimum number of products that you need to sell?
Nope.
You even sell just one?
Just one.
And make the $50 minus the $20 and put it in your pocket.
Exactly.
Okay, scary question. Can anybody fail?
Sure. The way they fail is they don't do the work. They also fail by not following our system, and they, I don't want to say get lazy, but it is a system. Our system works because it's data. It's just pure data. So if you do the work and you put in the data points, and then it even shows up in our spreadsheet for return on investment, your net profit, your sales, and so that you see it, and it will actually, through the formulation, show green, yellow, proceed with caution, red. So we've removed even that, them having to, as the data adds up, there's formulas that indicate you got a winner, man, of velocity. That's the other criteria it shows, because you want it in the 1% or less of what's selling on Amazon. So if they follow the training, you can't fail unless, I would say, you're lacking some basic cognition skills.
So
You
is it
know,
like every day that you have to do this Google search or whatever search to see how it's performing, just like a stock?
no, it isn't. The management of the inventory would happen through your Amazon seller back office. So that first step of trying to find the products is strictly through this research evaluation spreadsheet. And the job of that spreadsheet is to take that data and then with the formulations that are in there, give you the indicators. But you don't watch that every day. You make your decision. So your VA is working through the night, halfway across the world, and you wake up in the morning, okay, they've got 7 to 10 new products for me to double check and evaluate. Yep, looks good. You place your order, or you even offset that, which Ed eventually did. It's kind of a trust issue, and he had to get a special card for that, so that he didn't even have to look at the products in the morning for when the VA dished them up. But where you then have to manage your inventory is through your Amazon seller central back office. And then you're watching the velocity and, and the movement of your products. It's not fail proof. And the reason it's not fail proof is Amazon is a highly, highly dynamic sales platform.
Right, yeah.
So during Q4, or pardon me, March, when we had the quarantines, their sales went through the roof. And so there was enormous velocity, and that happens too in Q4. So you may get a product in, and the thing that'll change the most is new sellers have jumped onto it. Okay, but there's ways to deal with this. Everything that people, because we've been teaching this 7 years, by the way. So it's not like we just started yesterday. We've been teaching this 7 years.
So do you make a part of your income from doing that for yourself?
I had done local retail arbitrage. We rolled out the online arbitrage with this whole automation system. That was in 2020. So I had started with, it's called local retail arbitrage, which actually is kind of fun. You just have an app, Amazon seller app on your phone, and you scan the products. I've done tons of it. But the difference there is you're going into stores to find those products. It's actually faster. But again, when you have a VA who does the work online, because most people get quite bored. You're just putting in data points. We'll hire someone to do it at a sixth of American wages.
Yeah, if they're good, if they're accurate, right?
They have to be good. And that's why you do have to understand the process well enough to check in on their work, as does any boss with any business, any job position.
Well, that's just fascinating. So it seems to me like if I guess it's just where you want to spend your time today as a business owner, whether you want to do that, minutia, or you want to teach that where you're now getting. So tell us about the academy, about this training.
Yeah. So it's e-commerce business school, and we do have an application process. And we do have criteria. It's not super rigorous, but for example, if they have really low tech skills, we've seen that, and then it's like, oh my gosh, it's almost to the point you almost have to, should we supply labor to help them with their very basic stuff? So they got to have that. They also have to have the time. And we say 12 to 15 hours a week. Now, as an example, I just did a follow-up consult with one of our members who owns a digital marketing company, just like me. Mm-hmm. And I said, did you find me on YouTube? How'd you find me? He said, no, I was actually looking to start to expand my business portfolio, because he's been very successful with this. He's 10 years out and it's all going great. And I'm like, it's time to build business number 2. And so what was appealing to him about this is it can get to a position of automation. So he's done very, very well. And he said, Ann, I know for a fact, I have a lot of friends. I mean, he's in a big, huge forum for entrepreneurs. Yeah. He said, this is kind of like perfect, Ann, because they put in the initial sweat equity and then they've got this automated business. Not 100% automated. It's still your baby and you need to check in on it. Mm-hmm. But we have one of our trainers, she has 2 Amazon stores. You have to have permission from Amazon on that though. To be really clear. And then she does brand management for Amazon sellers. And now she's building her 4th company, a prep and ship center. And she said, Ann, I have not looked at those 3 businesses in over 3 months, because she has a senior VA who's she's demonstrated, I can run this ship for you, Dr. Josie, you're good. You go do your thing. Not a problem. She's starting another business. So it does truly work quite spectacularly well. I'll give another quick case study.
Yes, please do. I'm
Okay.
like so excited about this.
Yeah, so we had an former Olympian track and field athlete. She joined last August. And it was her husband who saw my video, and she was looking for something because she had hung up her medals and now what do I do? And she tried a bunch of things, how it goes. And then he said, you should really look at this. Well, she, sure enough, she hired a VA. She now has 2. And so here I just interviewed her Saturday. We do a weekly Saturday morning live, and she's approaching 30,000. And the cool thing is she's got the track and field trials are coming up, the Olympic trials in June. Well, she's getting her business in place that she can be at those Olympic trials and her business will run with or without her. In fact, it happened almost immediately when she hired her first VA. She said, all of a sudden I had a whole lot more hours in my day. And my husband was like, is everything okay? Yeah, it's good. And now she can take her daughter to the various athletic events that she's involved in. So that's a case in point where a gal in about a 6-month stretch has reached a fairly high level of automation. Now she's have more time with her daughter. She can go to the Olympic trials. So it really is, it works. You got to work the business, but it works.
Did this Olympian make 30,000 in 6 months, or is it 30,000 per month, or is it 30,000?
In that time period from when she started.
Okay.
Yeah. What we do is they get this thing. And so in the mail.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
And then, yeah. So then she colors, she probably already hit 30K now, but yeah. And basically what happens when you hit trajectory, you start to see double, double, double. And it's all contingent upon knowing how to multiply yourself, because you're capped as a, solo. So when you got that team underneath you, like Ed jumping from 100 to 200 in 4 months, now you can go from 2 to 400 in even less time because he's got the team for scale.
Right. That's right. Now, do you hook them up with the team or they have to find their own?
We train them on that. We prefer that because we're the e-commerce business school. We empower people to own that piece and not, well, here we did all the research for you. Here you go. Albeit that is a business opportunity in itself where people train up VAs and all that. But there's websites where you can do that. And so we have everything like a business in a box, how to do your interview, how to do your job listing, how, everything. And plus we have the training to give to the VA.
Yeah. So is it all online training or is there any live portion of your training?
We used to do live, but this thing called COVID came along and we have not resumed our live events yet.
I mean, like on Zoom.
Yeah, it's Zoom. We record everything. It's in the back office. We do a Facebook Live every Saturday that's front facing, Saturday morning live, it's called. And we do case studies, training and whatnot.
So what are the 3 pillars of e-commerce success?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Number 1, generate cash flow. So you can jumpstart your business and keep it going. We don't want people using their personal funds to further fund their business. It comes by that quick and ready cash flow. Number 2 is to automate systems. And so by having those automated systems, you can plug people in to run them for you. So that's the next one. And that's so you can free up your time. And lastly is to build assets so that you can pass on to your children or sell to an investor.
That's
Those
amazing.
are the 3 pillars.
Now, who is your ideal target client for this?
I have to say, we target business owners. By default, we get lots of, we call it B2C. And really it's with a business owner, they bring a lot to the table because they know it's not like a linear income. You go and you put 40 hours in, you get your check. Entrepreneurs, current business owners understand the sweat equity formula. And so it's a more arduous, so I'll say that's who we target. By default, we get a lot of others, but I will say the medical industry people have been very fascinating. Our top trainers are from the medical field, our 2 top trainers. And we have an ER physician who's done extremely well, a physical therapist, admin position. I think it's because they are trained to interpret data. They check the vital signs. It's a data-driven kind of work Not to say that others aren't. CPAs and bookkeepers do exceptionally well because they are number centric. But I've been really intrigued and impressed that medical professionals, they come in with more of this global data. I don't know quite how to explain it, but I think it's because they have to do data in their work.
But it's amazing to me that they would have that 15 hours a week, because aren't they like frontline workers? They're dying of, no pun intended, but they're just like overwhelmed.
Well, our ER physician, 12-hour shifts. She's doing really well. Granted, she brought in her family to work it with her, and it's a gaggle of girls, and they are having a blast. She showed me pictures. They got the wine out at the beginning to just get the evening going for all their activities and their shipping. And so she's doing it on the side, but I will say she's very, very happy with her business. And that's the best of all, if you're having fun doing it.
That is wonderful. So where could people reach you?
Well, they can go to ecommercebusinessschool.com. It's our homepage. Plus, we have something special for your people. It's some free training that describes this very method and how does this automation thing work? So we can give that as a special gift and resource. But our homepage, ecommercebusinessschool.com, you'll see many case studies, success stories. The 3 pillars I mentioned, we've got a 12-hour video. Nothing has proved to be as popular as that 3 pillars of e-commerce success video. Nothing compares to it. It's been a game changer.
What is the URL for the special prize?
Yes, it is joinebs.com/Chala.
Yeah. Chala.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I always get the vowel.
Got it.
Short or long pronunciation.
joinebs.com/Chala.
Yes.
Perfect. We are going to put that in the notes and in the link. Thank you so much, Ann. It was a pleasure. It was fascinating. I am going to tell everybody I meet about this.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
You too.